were 7 days into shooting when Michelle was murdered. We were making The Garbage Man. It was my first film. I was making it with all my best friends in the world, and it was supposed to be the time of my life. But it's real hell. She was working as the night auditor at a hotel, the Charterhouse Inn. I was making a movie about a black serial killer. Her murderer was 20-year-old Eric Daniels, black male from Champaign, Illinois. My father was staying at the hotel. He was the last person to talk to her alive. At the time of the making of the movie, in town, Champaign, Illinois, I was the infamous author of the Jeffrey Dahmer comics. I was on the news all the time. The making of the movie was all over the news. I was quite the bad guy, you know? So there we were, making this movie, and it came to life. It really happened. We shut down shooting for about a day, and then we had the funeral the next day, and I pretty much went crazy. My life at that time, personal life, was pretty violent. I had stalkers. I had death threats. There had been a protest march on my house that was on CNN over these Dahmer books. I had been sued, you know. Some people had broken into my home and robbed me while I was at a Fangoria horror convention in Los Angeles. So things were pretty rough when I wrote The Garbage Man. Things were pretty crazy. I don't even know how to begin to tell you what it was like in those days. I was 24 years old. Michelle was the love of my life. She really was the love of my life. And it was mind-breaking, and it really broke me. What the public doesn't know is, leading up to the film, my girlfriend, before Michelle, had been raped by one of my co-workers at Maples. At the time, I was a bouncer, and he was a bouncer, and he raped my girlfriend one night when they were partying. While I was writing the script for Garbage Man, another girlfriend of mine, well, ex-girlfriend, and we were still friends, she was kidnapped and by a stalker and brutalized and nearly killed. So those are really violent times for me. And when you watch this movie, when you watch The Garbage Man, I think it's really important to know it's not just a movie for me. I mean, this movie's filled with real pain. We shot it in 1993 on 16mm film. I went crazy halfway through shooting, and I really did go crazy. I don't remember a lot of those days of shooting. About 5 days into shooting, our lead, James Meredith, he was blackmailing us. He was blackmailing us for cash so he would finish the movie. I actually had to drive to the Milwaukee Metal Fest. This is, 5-6 days after my girlfriend had been murdered, and I had to go to a death metal festival to raise money to give this blackmailing son of a bitch money to keep making our movie. Well, he couldn't wait. He walked off the shoot. We finished the movie without him. And then it kind of sat dormant for a little while. My partners in it was Rob and Bill, and they were going to cut this in Los Angeles. They were going to cut it themselves, and then I was going to move to LA. And it didn't quite work out that way. Bill worked on a cut for a little while, but he kept telling me that the movie was no good, that all the footage was shit. Boy, they really did a mindfuck on me. They kept telling me for years after that the footage was no good, and they really wouldn't let me look at it, and they showed me a rough cut here, like 9 minutes of footage, and then Bill got into a car accident the very first night I moved to Los Angeles in 1994. And his cut burned, and a lot of our paperwork burned, his shot list and the edit list, all that stuff disappeared. So that set us back, and then Bill didn't want to touch the movie anymore. And then Rob, he was quietly editing it for himself on the side, and he gave up. And it took me a couple of years to get all the materials back from everybody. It wasn't easy to get this stuff from these guys. They didn't want to give it to me for some reason. They just kept telling me I should give up. It was no good. In my personal life, Michelle's murder, it destroyed me. I mean, I went nuts for a long time. It's all in Poems for the Dead and Still Dead. Those books are real. I grew as an artist over the years. I had to go through 3 murder trials over Michelle's murder. I was a witness in them. And we had to keep... It's an ugly, ugly story, and I don't talk about this stuff. I've never talked about this in public before. I've never talked about this on camera before. It was something I've always resisted, and there's a lot of things in Garbage Man I haven't been able to deal with, but it's been so many years that I'm ready to let my monster loose on the world, you know, and I want people to know what was sacrificed for the film and what people went through making this movie. I mean, this movie's nothing but pain to me. Nothing but pain.